Hello, my name is Samantha and this is Daniel, and I'm going to be conducting the mental status assessment. First, I'm going to inspect the hygiene of Mr. King. Poor hygiene and lack of concern with appearance can indicate depression, dementia, or psychiatric disorders. He appears clean and he's well groomed. Next, I'm going to utilize the Gaskell-Cloma scale on Mr. King. He scores a 15. He gets 5 points for spontaneous eye opening. He also gets 5 points for verbal response. He is oriented to verbal stimulation. And then he gets 5 points because he obeys commands. And this was found in previous assessment also. Next, I'm going to check Mr. King's emotional status. He is appropriate. He displays interest in topics discussed. He does not appear careless, angry, or hostile. Mr. King, how are you feeling right now?
Hostile.
Feeling okay?
Feeling fine.
Good. And have you had any depression, anger lately?
No.
How about over the last 2 weeks? Have you just not felt like doing anything? You feel
Nope.
okay? You feel good? Okay. Now I'm going to assess his body language. It is appropriate. He is sitting erect in the chair. He's making eye contact, and he has a very calm demeanor. Okay, I'll be evaluating Mr. King's level of consciousness and cognitive abilities throughout the assessment. Can you please state your name for me?
Daniel King.
And can you please state where we are?
Carolyn, Texas.
And the time?
7:15.
Approximately 7:15, good. If you would have answered confusion with person, this could mean that he's got maybe a cerebral problem, seizures, or amnesia. If there was confusion with place, he could be experiencing delirium, psychiatric disorders, or cognitive impairment, and disorientation to time could be anxious, depressed, or cognitive impairment. Okay, now we're going to test the cognitive ability. I'm going to conduct the mental state examination. Mr. King, I'm going to say 3 words, and I want you to remember them. Red, plate, and milk. Can you repeat that for me?
Red, plate, milk.
Okay. And now I'm going to have him draw a picture of a clock. And I'm going to have him make it where the time says 8:30. Very good. And Mr. King's clock is appropriate. Can you please repeat those 3 words I had you remember earlier?
Red, plate, milk.
Good, good. Okay, so Mr. King would get 1 point correct for each word that he had, plus taking into consideration of the clock. He scored perfectly on the mental state exam. So there's no signs of dementia. Good. So next we're going to discuss analogies for further cognitive assessment. Mr. King, what is similar between an ocean and a lake?
Both water.
What about a flute and a trumpet?
Both are instruments.
Good, good. He answered those both appropriately. Now please complete the comparison for me. An engine is to an airplane as an oar is to a
Boat.
boat. Good, perfect. And what is the difference between a magazine and a telephone book?
Magazines for internet or entertainment, and a phone book is to find phone numbers.
Good, 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 good. And what is the difference between a tree and a bush?
A tree is bigger than a bush.
Okay, good. He answered appropriately. Had he not answered correctly, this could indicate a lesion of the left or dominant cerebral hemisphere. Now, we're going to go into abstract reasoning. Mr. King, can you please tell me the meaning of a stitch in time saves 9?
If you take care of a problem now, it won't be bigger later.
Good, good. And a bird in the hand is worth 2 in a bush.
Something right now is better than something that you wish for.
Good, good. He answered those both appropriately. So now we're going to focus on the arithmetic portion of the test. So, Mr. King, I'm going to start at 48, and I want you to count to 0 backwards by 6s. Okay? So go ahead. 48.
48, 42, 36, 30, 24, 18, 12, 6, 0.
Good. And have there been many mistakes? This can indicate depression. People who are depressed do have problems with their arithmetic skills, but he did perfectly. Now we're going to focus on Mr. King's writing ability. I'm going to have him write his name and his address. Go ahead and write your name and address for me. Okay. And Mr. King did write everything appropriately. Thank you, sir. Okay. Okay, now we're going to check his motor skills, and I'm going to have him actually, let me bring a comb in. Here, I'll use this. Mr. King, I just want you to kind of comb your hair. I'm just checking your fine motor skills, please. Very good. Thank you. And he is following directions, which is also part of the assessment. If there was mistakes and he could not translate what he wanted to do into action, this could mean that he had maybe a paralysis or lack of comprehension. Now we're going to test his memory. We're going to do the long-term and short-term. First, Mr. King will be testing your immediate memory. So I need for you to immediately recall the following numbers: 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Okay, so his immediate memory is intact. And now I'm going to show you 4 items and ask you about them later. I've got a fork. I've got a cup. I've got a pencil. And I have a book. So a fork, cup, pencil, and book. And then at the end of the assessment, I will ask him about it again. Okay. Now I'm going to test his remote memory. I'm going to ask him a few questions about the past. So, Mr. King, what high school did you attend?
Sherman.
Sherman, okay. And when is your oldest sister's birthday?
July 8th.
July 8th, okay. Very good. So he was able to answer the remote and the immediate and recent memory. If he was unable to, this could mean that he had dementia. Now, attention span, which has kind of been assessed throughout the assessment. I'm going to have him state the days of the week for me.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
And he was able to do so with no distractions. And he was also able to demonstrate concentration and attention span while he was saying the numbers backwards earlier. If he was unable to concentrate, this could mean fatigue, depression, delirium, or toxic causes. Judgment and reasoning is next, and I'll be testing this by asking him what his plans for the future are. So, Mr. King, what are your plans for the future?
I don't know.
What's your long-term goals?
Goals?
Yeah.
To get married and have kids.
Okay. I am testing reasonable goals. So no winning the lottery and getting a boat, and so his goals are they're reasonable. He has good judgment. Now, Mr. King, I'm going to give you a scenario, and I want you to tell me how you would handle the situation. So, what would you do if a police officer turned his lights on because you ran a red light?
Pull over.
Pull over, and then what? What would you hand him?
My ID and my insurance.
Okay. And then after he gave you a ticket, what would you do?
Cry.
And then what?
Go home. Pay it.
Pay it. Okay. He answered the questions reasonable and appropriate judgment. Had he not answered appropriately, this could mean mental retardation, emotional disturbance, dementia, or psychosis. Now we're going to do speech and language skills. I've kind of been focusing on his speech throughout the assessment. His voice quality throughout the assessment was good. He did not have any difficulty speaking and making sounds. The volume of his speech was good. He wasn't too loud. He wasn't too quiet. He was at a nice, calm, even speed. Problems associated with poor speech could indicate maybe a laryngeal innervation. Okay. Articulation. When considering articulation, Mr. King's articulation was appropriate. He was able to communicate with ease. I was able to understand him with ease. Comprehension and coherence. Mr. King demonstrated throughout the assessment as he answered questions appropriately. And they were clearly conveyed to me. In memory for the last part of the mental status assessment, I'm going to have you recall those 4 items that I showed you earlier in the assessment.
A book.
A book.
A pencil.
A pencil.
A cup. And a fork.
And a fork. Good. His memory is intact, so there's no signs of dementia. And thank you, and this concludes my mental status assessment.